What's up, lore masters? One of the most controversial episodes in not only DS9 but Star Trek overall is specifically in the Pale Moonlight. Many have stated that this episode, this one in particular, is where the line is crossed. It distinguishes between those who are okay with their darker tones and the fundamental change of Starfleet and Star Trek, and for those who feel Roddenberry's legacy was forever impacted, and Roddenberry himself betrayed. Before we get into the Pale Moonlight and completely break it down with an almost mind-numbing amount of focus, I think it's important to understand that the episode is honestly just a culmination of everything that we have seen up to this point from Deep Space Nine. If indeed there was a line that could be crossed, it had already occurred long ago. This episode, Sisko's fall from grace, Starfleet Command being okay with getting tens to hundreds of thousands, if not millions of people killed, just highlighted what the show had always been about, what it had led up to. Before we even look at anything to do with the Dominion, we have to remember that there was already signs that Jean's vision was being modified. Many forget that Kira Nerys was a terrorist. She was also second in command of Deep Space Nine, meaning that Starfleet was allying itself with people that liked killing Cardassians as a part of their mating practice. Now don't misunderstand, there was obvious legitimate reason for the Bajorans to resist and Starfleet to be okay with it. But we find out that some of the things Kira did in her past are events, are actions that would have her put in jail for a long time. When you're a terrorist, you're still doing some pretty awful things, and sometimes to people who didn't deserve it. Not only that, but these superior humans, the ones that were the best of the best, were anything but. Sisko showed anger, jealousy, and was vengeful, to the point of using weapons of mass destruction to poison an entire planet. Chief O'Brien almost committed suicide. And these things are just off the top of my head. I haven't done any research, just what I can remember. So before we have even discussed the Dominion, we can see the cracks. And these things that had already existed are simply amplified when we get into the Dominion arc. The slow fade we see of Starfleet Command and a senior officer is spread throughout the Dominion Cold War and the war itself. Hell, even looking at the Dominion Cold War, it had gotten bad, it had amplified. We know Starfleet brazenly would intrude into what Dominion claimed to be their space, not opting to negotiate, but simply not listening. Now, to be fair, they were doing it without knowing. They were told it was a breach afterwards, but still, they decided to say, hey, you know what? Screw you, we're going to go wherever we want. They then send an entire refit Galaxy-class starship into Dominion space to save one man who was legitimately caught in Dominion territory. That's not even to mention the day Starfleet decided to step back and allow the genocide of the changelings, nor the attempted Starfleet coup. The truth is, the degradation of Starfleet and the Star Trek universe, it becoming more dark, becoming a dystopia compared to what TNG said it was always occurring in DS9. Those who get upset at this episode specifically really just hadn't put the pieces together yet. I know it may be weird to do a quick video basically recapping something that I've painfully done for the last 20-some episodes, but ironically, I don't think it's as obvious even if you're watching my videos one after the other. Every time I discuss In a Pale Moonlight, there's always talk about how it was a betrayal of Gene Roddenberry's vision. I honestly think if you believe that it is a betrayal of Roddenberry's vision, which is arguable, I don't think that's necessarily wrong, then all of this actually began at the beginning of DS9, and that has to be taken into account. The next few episodes of the series will be analyzing In a Pale Moonlight, and I expect that there will be a lot of debate on that. So to try to help out, or at least give a reference video when it comes up, I decided to do this one. All that said, I am interested in what you guys think. Did DS9 overall break Roddenberry's vision? Did it betray everything he was for? In my opinion, I do lean yes, but that said, I think it's a much better and much more rich universe because of it. I still think that it is a utopia. I still think that it shows the best of humanity. It's just realistic. But all of these are my opinions. What are yours? Let me know in the comments below. Don't forget to rate, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you on the next Lore Reloaded.